About 40 miles southeast of Palm Springs, at the tip of the Salton Sea, is North Shore, California. This is where you cross over the train tracks and head towards the Dos Palmas Reserve. When gold was discovered in the 1860s, at the La Paz, Arizona gold fields, a shorter and faster route was needed to carry the passengers and freight to those gold fields. This new route would become known as the Bradshaw Trail, and would become the main route into Los Angeles until 1876, when the Southern Pacific Railroad would come through and be established in that area. After several calls to the Nature Conservancy and the BLM, we were finally able to walk down to the oasis. The road is closed at this point and you will have to walk about half a mile to the ranch house. From 1866 to 1867, W. H. Smith ran the Dos Palmas station. On the night of October 9, 1866, Herman Ehrenberg was murdered as he laid outside the station. Stories have it that he was shot through the heart. Rumors were that an Indian had attacked him, while others believed that the deed was done by the station keeper himself, Mr. Smith. Ehrenberg was said to have had $3,500 in gold on him that he was carrying back to Los Angeles from the gold fields. He was buried the next day at the station. When the Southern Pacific Railroad came through the Coachella Valley in 1876, they established a train stop called Dos Palmas, as shown in this 1877 photograph. It was 260 foot below sea level. When the Colorado broke through its levees, causing the flood of 1905 to 1907, which would eventually form today's Salton Sea, the train station disappeared underneath its waters. The old adobe walls of the original stage stop were all but gone by the winter of 1920. But it was still the camping place of many prospectors of the day, as it had been since the 1860s. Frank Coffey, who had prospected in the Chuckawalla Mountains and the surrounding area since about 1885, built a cabin and settled at Dos Palmas, sometime after the turn of the century. In November of 1940, it was reported that his cabin was but just charred remains. Besides Herman Ehrenberg, it is well documented that a family from Texas passed through the Dos Palmas area, and while there, their baby Dyson was buried next to the grave of Herman Ehrenberg. The baby white headstone was carved in 1906 and placed on the grave by 30-year resident Frank Coffey. The headstone survived at the ranch until after 1987. John Voss, who had been living at the ranch and prospecting in the area since around 1931, suggested that his sister Gertrude purchase the ranch. From 1938 to 1943, Gertrude Voss Standrich lived at Dos Palmas. She was a German immigrant and a businesswoman. During World War II, there were rumors and tall tales of a German lady spy living at Dos Palmas. She advertised Dos Palmas as a resort, including mud baths from the famous clay pits and swimming in a beautiful open-air pool, fed by warm mineral waters. During World War II, General George S. Patton was said to have used the house for staff meetings, since it was so close to his desert training center. There was even a light runway for planes to fly into Dos Palmas because the roads were so bad. In the years between 1943 and 1980, Hollywood executive Ray Morgan owned the property. Ray Morgan produced many radio and television shows, including Queen for a Day. He maintained the ranch as a desert retreat for his staff, so they could get away and relax. Mr. Morgan wanted the ranch for its historic and scenic interest. He wanted Dos Palmas to be preserved, in its natural state, as an historic landmark. The Nature Conservancy acquired the property from private owners in 1989. Several years later it was transferred to public ownership, with the BLM being the lead agency, overseeing the management of the property.